SaiSatcharitra Chapter 9 Effect of Compliance and Non-Compliance with Baba's Order at the Time of Taking Leave, Mendicancy and its Necessity, Devotees' Experiences, Baba fed sumptuously how. At the end of the last chapter, it was barely stated that the Bhaktas who obeyed Baba's orders at the time of taking leave fared well, and those who disobeyed him suffered many a mishap. This statement will be amplified and illustrated with a few striking instances and by other matters dealt with in this chapter. Characteristics of Shirdi pilgrimage. One special peculiarity of Shirdi pilgrimage was that none could leave Shirdi without Baba's permission, and if he did, he invited untold sufferings. But if anyone was asked to quit Shirdi, he could not stay no longer. Baba gave certain suggestions or hints when Bhaktas went to bid goodbye and take leave. These suggestions had to be followed. If they were not followed or very departed from, accidents were sure to befall them, who acted contrary to Baba's directions. We give below a few instances. Tatya Kote Patil. Tatya Kote was once going in a tanga to Kopargaon Bazaar. He came in haste to the masjid, saluted Baba, and said that he would go to Kopargaon Bazaar. Baba said, "Don't make haste. Stop a little. Let go the bazaar. Don't go out of the village." On seeing his anxiety to go, Baba asked to take Shama, that is Madhavraj Deshpande, at least with him. Not minding this direction, Tatya Kote immediately drove his tanga. One of the two horses, which cost rupees 300, was very active and restless. After passing Saul well, it began to run rashly and got a sprain in its waist and fell down. Tatya was not much hurt, but was reminded of Mother Sai's direction. On another occasion, while proceeding to Kolhar village, he disregarded Baba's direction and drove into the tanga, which met with a similar accident. European gentleman. One European gentleman of Bombay once came to Shirdi with an introductory note from Nanasaheb Dabolkar and with some object in view. He was comfortably accommodated in a tent. He wanted to kneel before Baba and kiss his hand. He tries to step into the masjid, but Baba prevented him from doing so. He was asked to sit in the open courtyard below and take Baba's darshan from there. Not pleased with this reception he got, he wanted to leave Shirdi at once and came to bid goodbye. Baba asked him to go the next day and not to hurry. People also requested him to abide by Baba's direction. Not listening to all this, he left Shirdi in a tanga. The horses ran at first all right, but when Saval well was passed, a bicycle came in front. Seeing this, the horses were frightened and ran fast. The tanga was turned topsy-turvy and the gentleman released and had to go and lie in Kopargaon hospital for treatment of injuries. Because of such experiences, all people learned the lesson that those who disobeyed Baba's instruction met with accident in a way or the other, and those who obeyed them were safe and happy. The necessity of mendicancy. Now to return to the question of mendicancy, a question may arise in the mind of some that Baba was such a great personage, God in fact, why should he recourse to begging bowl all his lifetime? This question may be considered and replied from two standpoints. First one is, who are the fit persons who have the right to live by begging bowl? Our Shastras say that those people who getting rid of or becoming free from the three main desires, that is progeny, wealth and fame, except sannyas, are the fit persons to live on begging alms. They cannot make cooking arrangements or dine at home. The duty of feeding them rests on the shoulder of the households. Sai Baba was neither a householder nor a vanasprati. He was a celibate sannyasi, that is brahmachari from boyhood. His firm conviction was that the universe was his home. He was the Lord Devastate, the supporter of the universe and the imperishable Brahman. So he had the full right to have the recourse to begging bowl. Second instance is, now from the standpoint of one, that is Panchasuna, the five sins and their attainment. In order to prepare foodstuff and meals, the householders have to go through five actions or processes. The five sins are, first one is Kandani, that is pounding. Second one is Peshani, that is grinding. Third one is Udakumbi, which is washing pots. Fourth one is Marjani, which is sweeping and cleaning. And the fifth one is Chulli, that is lighting of the hearth. These processes involve destruction of a lot of small insects and creatures, and thus the householders incur a lot of sin. In order to atone for this sin, the Shastras prescribe the five kinds of sacrifices. First one is Brahma Yajna or Veda Dhyan, that is, offering to the Brahman or the study of Vedas. Second one is Pitra Yajna, offering to the ancestors. Third one is Deva Yajna, offering to the gods. Fourth one is Bhuta Yajna, offering to the beings. And the fifth one is Manushya Atiti Yajna, offering to the men or uninvited guests. If these sacrifices enjoined by the Shastras are duly performed, the purification of the mind is effected, and this brings the householder to get knowledge and self-realization. Baba, in going from house to house, reminded the inmates of their sacred duty, and fortunate were the people who got the lesson at their homes from Baba. Devotees' experiences. Now to return to the other more interesting subject, Lord Krishna had said in the Bhagavad Gita, Whosoever devoutly offers to me a leaf, a flower, or a fruit or water, of that pure-hearted man I accept that piously offering. In the case of Sai Baba, if a devotee really longed to offer anything to Sai Baba and if he afterwards forgot to offer the same, Baba reminded him or his friend about the offering and made him present it to him, and then accepted it and blessed the devotee. A few instances are given below. First one is the Tharkat family, father and son. Mr. Ramchandra Atmaram, alias Baba Sahib Tharkat, formerly a Pratana Samajist, was a staunch devotee of Sai Baba. His wife and son loved Baba equally or perhaps more. It was once proposed that Master Tharkat should go with his mother to Shirdi and spend his May vacation there. But the son was unwilling to go, as he thought that in case he left his home at Bandra, the worship of Sai Baba in the house would not be properly attended to, as his father, being a Pratana Samajist, would not care to worship of Sai Baba's enlarged portrait. However, on his father's giving an assurance of oath that he would perform the worship exactly as his son was doing, the mother and the son left for Shirdi on one Friday night. Next day, that is Saturday, Mr. Tharkat got up early, took his bath, and before proceeding with the puja, prostrated himself before the shrine and said, Baba, I am going to perform the puja exactly as my son has been doing, but please don't let it not be a formal drill. After he performed the puja, he offered a few pieces of lump sugar as naivedya, that is offering, which were distributed at the time of the launch. That evening and on Sunday, everything went well. The following Monday was a working day and it also passed well. Mr. Tharkat, who had never performed puja like this in his all life, felt great confidence within himself that everything was passing on quite satisfactorily according to the promise given to his son. On Tuesday, he performed the morning puja as usual and left for work. Coming home at noon, he found that there was no prasad, that is sugar, to partake of. When the meal was served, he asked the servant cook, who told him that there was no offering made that morning and that he had completely forgotten them to perform that part of the puja, that is offering naivedya. After hearing that, he left his seat and prostrated himself before the shrine, expressed his regret, at the same time chiding Baba for the want of guidance in making the whole affair a matter of mere drill. Then he wrote a letter to his son stating the fact and requested him to lay it before Baba's feet and asked him pardon for his neglect. This happened in Bandra on Tuesday noon. At about the same time, when the noon aarti was about to commence in Shirdi, Baba said to Mrs. Tharkat, Mother, I had been to your house in Bandra with a view to having something to eat. I found the door locked. I somehow got an entrance inside and found to my regret that Bahu, that is Mr. Tharkat, had left nothing for me to eat. So I have returned from there without eating anything. The lady could not understand anything, but the son, who was close by, understood that there was something wrong in the puja in Bandra, and he therefore requested Baba to permit him to go home. Baba refused the permission but allowed him to perform puja there. Then the son wrote a letter to his father stating all that took place at Shirdi and implored his father not to neglect the puja at home. Both these letters crossed each other and were delivered to their respective parties the next day. Isn't this astonishing? Mrs. Tharkat. Let us now take up the case of Mrs. Tharkat herself. She offered three things. First one is barit, that is roasted brinjal eggplant mixed with curd and spices. And second one is kacheria, circular pieces of brinjal fried in ghee. And third one is peda, which is a sweet ball. Let us see how Baba accepted them. Once Mr. Raghuvir Bhaskar Purande of Bandra, a great devotee of Baba, started for Shirdi with his family. Mrs. Tharkat went to Mrs. Purande and gave her two brinjals and requested her to prepare bharat of one brinjal and kacheria of the other. When she went to Shirdi and served Baba with them, after reaching Shirdi, Mrs. Purandre went with the dishes of Bharat to the masjid when Baba was just about to start his meals. Baba found the Bharat very tasty, so he distributed it to all and said that he wanted kacharias now. A word was sent to Radha Krishna Mai that Baba wanted kacharias. She was in a fix as there was no season of brinjals. How to get brinjals was the question. When an inquiry was made as to who brought the Bharat, it was found that Mrs. Purandre was entrusted with the duty of serving kacharias. Everybody then came to know the significance of Baba's inquiry regarding kacharias and was wonderstruck at Baba's all-pervasive knowledge. In December 1950, one Govind Balram Mankar wanted to go to Shirdi to perform the obeisances of his father. Before he left, he came to see Mr. Tharkat. Then Mrs. Tharkat wanted to give something with him to Baba. She searched the whole house but found nothing except a peda, which had already been offered as Naivedya. Mr. Bankar was in mourning, still out of great devotion to Baba. She set the peda with him, hoping that Baba would accept it and eat it. Govind went to Shirdi and saw Baba, but forgot to take the peda with him. Baba simply waited. When again he went to the masjid in the afternoon, he went empty-handed without the peda. Baba could no longer wait and therefore asked him straight, "What did you bring for me?" Nothing was the reply. Baba asked him again. The same reply came forth again. Then Baba asked him the leading question, "Did not mother give some sweet meal to you for me at the time of starting?" The boy then remembered the whole thing. He felt abashed, asking Baba's pardon, ran to the lodge, brought the peda and gave it to Baba. As soon as Baba got it in his hand, he put it in his mouth and gulped it down. Thus the devotion of Mrs. Turkar was recognized and accepted. As men believe in me, so do I accept. That is written in Gita 4-11 and was proved in this case. Baba felt sumptuously how. Once Mrs. Turkar was staying in a certain house in Shirdi. At noon, meals were ready and dishes were being served. When a hungry dog turned up there and began to cry, Mrs. Turkar got up at once and threw a piece of bread, which the dog gulped with great relish. In the afternoon, when she went to the masjid and at some distance, Sai Baba said to her, "Mother, you have fed me sumptuously up to my throat. My afflicted pranas, that is life forces, have been satisfied. Always act like this and this will stand you in good stead. Sitting in this masjid, I shall never speak untruth. Take pity on me like this. First give bread to the hungry and then eat yourself." Note this well. She could not at first understand the meaning of what Baba said. So she replied, "Baba, how could I feed you? I am myself dependent on others and take my food from them on payment." Then Baba replied, "Eating that lovely bread, I am heartily contented and I am still bleaching. The dog which you saw before meals and to which you gave a piece of bread is one with me. So also other creatures are one with me. I am growing in their form. He who sees me in all creatures is my beloved. So abandon the sense of duality and distinction and serve me as you did today." Drinking these nectar-like words, she was moved. Her eyes were filled with tears, her throat was choked, and her joy knew no bounds. Moral: see God in all beings is the moral of this chapter. The Upanishads, the Gita, and the Bhagavad all exhort us to perceive God or divinity in all creatures. By the instance given at the end of this chapter and others too numerous to mention, Sai Baba has practically demonstrated to us how to put the Upanishadic teachings into practice. In this way, Sai Baba stands as the best exponent or teacher of the Upanishadic doctrines. Bo to Sri Sai, peace be to all.